In a world more connected than ever before, countless people still feel utterly alone. You can scroll through 1,000 faces, send 100 messages, and still feel unseen. We often mistake connection for meaning, but what if your lack of friends isn't a curse? What if solitude, the thing you fear most, is life's hidden invitation to discover your true self? The Stoics believe that isolation, pain, and emptiness are not punishments. They are sacred teachers. They force us to see what comfort hides, our dependence, our weakness, our need for validation. This is not a story about loneliness. This is about inner strength, about what happens when you stop chasing connection and start mastering solitude. Welcome to the hidden meaning of lack of friends, a Stoic journey into peace, power, and purpose. The weight of solitude. Let's begin with honesty. There are nights when you sit alone and the silence feels like it's crushing your chest. You wonder, why don't I have close friends? Why does everyone else seem connected, except me? But here's what the Stoics taught. Pain is information. Every emotion is trying to tell you something. Your loneliness isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that something deep within you is awakening. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." He was the emperor of Rome, surrounded by people, soldiers, servants, advisors, and yet he still turned inward for peace. If even an emperor felt the need to be alone, what does that tell you? It means solitude is not a symptom, it's a path. Most people fear being alone because they've never met themselves. They fill their time with noise, music, parties, scrolling, small talk, because silence exposes the truth they've been running from. But the Stoic says, sit with it. Sit with the emptiness until it stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like freedom. There's a hidden strength that only appears in solitude. When there's no one to impress, you begin to act honestly. When there's no one to comfort you, you learn to self-soothe. When there's no one to rely on, you finally meet the person who's been waiting to lead you, yourself. So if you have few friends or none, don't rush to fill the space. Let it stretch, let it breathe, because in that silence, you will hear the voice of your own becoming. Music swells softly, contemplative piano tones. Remember this, loneliness is not a void. It's a mirror, and what you see there will either break you or build you. Why we feel the need for friends. Humans are social creatures. From birth, we seek warmth, connection, validation. We look into the eyes of others to know who we are. But the Stoics taught something radical, that our obsession with belonging often hides a weakness, a dependency on approval. Epictetus said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." He meant that freedom begins when you stop needing others to understand you. Many people surround themselves with friends not out of love, but out of fear of being alone with their thoughts. They crave constant company because silence feels like exposure. Think about it. How many times have you gone out with people you didn't truly connect with just to avoid spending a night alone? How many times have you laughed at jokes that didn't amuse you, just to blend in, just to belong? The Stoic looks at this and asks, why? Why do you fear your own company so much? If you were truly grounded, truly self-aware, you wouldn't chase the noise. You'd rest in stillness. Seneca wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. Not everyone deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. But when you're desperate for connection, you give your energy away cheaply. You mistake attention for affection. You confuse company with care. And you end up feeling more alone surrounded by people than you ever did in solitude. Here's the truth. You don't need more friends. You need deeper alignment. When your mind is untrained, you think friendship means constant presence. But when your soul matures, you realize friendship means mutual growth. It's not about quantity, it's about resonance. The Stoics didn't reject friendship, they cherished it. But they believed that true friendship can only exist between two free souls, not two needy ones. If your peace depends on another person's presence, you are in not friendship, you are in emotional dependency. And dependency is the enemy of freedom. So what does this mean for you? It means that this season of your life, the season where you have few or no friends, might be the training ground for your independence. It's where you learn to stand unshaken by absence, where you no longer need others to confirm your worth because you have begun to see it yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters." You can see your lack of friends as rejection, or you can see it as redirection, a chance to turn inward, to build yourself into the kind of person who attracts depth instead of noise. When you stop chasing belonging, you begin to belong to yourself. And that, the Stoics would say, is the beginning of peace.
Stoic lessons on loneliness. Epictetus was born a slave. He had no wealth, no status, and no freedom. Yet he said something that changed history. No man is free who is not master of himself. You can have hundreds of friends and still be a prisoner. You can have millions of followers and still be enslaved to opinions, validation, fear. But the one who has control over his thoughts needs nothing. Epictetus taught that the world can take everything from you, your home, your people, your comfort, but not your ability to choose your attitude. So when you feel the sting of being alone, remember, no one can take away your peace unless you hand it to them. Your solitude is your fortress, your thoughts are your soldiers, and your discipline is your defense.
Musonius Rufus. Growth requires discomfort. Musonius Rufus, often called the Roman Socrates, said, "If you accomplish something good with hard work, the labor passes quickly, but the good endures." He believed that suffering is not punishment, it's purification. Most people run from the discomfort of loneliness, but Rufus would say, sit with it, because every uncomfortable moment is reshaping you. When you feel excluded, when you feel invisible, that's the moment your strength is being carved. Like a statue under a hammer, your ego cracks, and beneath it your true form appears. The loneliness you feel today is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're growing into someone who no longer fits into shallow places. Zeno of Citium, the beginning lies in loss. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, began his journey after losing everything. A merchant shipwrecked, his cargo gone, his wealth gone. But he said later, "I made a prosperous voyage when I suffered shipwreck." That loss was his awakening. It was in his isolation that he discovered philosophy and the strength that would inspire generations. This is the hidden meaning of your lack of friends. Sometimes life empties your circle to fill your soul. Sometimes you lose everyone so you can finally find yourself. Zeno lost the world and gained wisdom. You might lose people and gain peace. So when you sit in silence, remember, this is not the end, It is the beginning of your transformation. Loneliness is the soil where character grows, and you, right now, are becoming something stronger than comfort can ever produce.